Okay, wonderful. Thank you, everybody, for being here with us tonight. This is our final session of our fundamentals course for 2024, or as I affectionately call it, our spring training for ECs. So, thank you to everybody who's been with us all week. My name is Jennifer Coffey, and I have the pleasure of serving as ANJAC's Executive Director. We're joined tonight by Liz Ritter, Randy Rothmel, Sheila Baker-Gurjal, and Cheryl Reardon. Yes, we will be recording this session, and everybody who has registered for the fundamentals courses will get the links to all of the recordings from this week. We ask you to please use the Q&A function to ask your questions, not the chat, the Q&A function. That enables us to make sure that we are doing our best to answer everybody's questions and keeping track of them. If you have a question that is unrelated to tonight's presentation, or we don't get to answer your question because we run out of time, feel free to email us at info@anjac.org. I promise you this account is highly monitored, and I also promise you that you are going to get a response much, much, much more quickly than if you email me directly. So info@anjac.org. For those of you who are new or maybe haven't been around as long as some others, ANJAC's mission is to support you as an environmental commission. We also happily work with open space committees, green teams, environmentally minded elected officials, and others. But our focus really is on environmental commissions and protecting and restoring natural resources and making sure that we create healthy communities and a more equitable New Jersey while we do it. So here you are tonight. You've made it to evening 3 of fundamentals. And shortly I will be turning it over to Randy and Cheryl to talk about community outreach and communications. And then we hope we will see you on April 13th in person to do some training, education about site plan review, and some networking. We are also going to be learning a little bit about what it looks like to put together a digital or an electronic ERI, Environmental Resource Inventory. So we're going to have an EC come and present to us. As I said, ANJAC is here for you. We are your resource organization. So we have webinars and roundtables throughout the year. We have professional staff to answer your questions. We have a quarterly magazine that tells your story and gives you an insider view of what's happening in Trenton. And then our signature programs are this fundamentals course and then our environmental congress in the fall. So please save the date. September 27th is when we're having it this year. And we look forward to seeing all of you with us. We are also your voice in Trenton. So we work closely with about 300 different municipalities across the state, ECs, green teams, open space committees, elected officials. And when we see commonality of issues or struggles or challenges or energy, we take that to Trenton. So we take that to the governor's office, the legislature, as well as the different agencies. So the DEP, the DCA, the DOT, and we ask for their support, whether it's additional models, resources, maps, funding, whatever it is that we're hearing from you when we see that commonality through municipalities. ANJAC has a few opportunities to apply for funding right now, so I just want to take a minute and talk about those. You should have already received an email, and you'll probably receive another one very, very soon about our grant program. So we have a small grant program. These are funds up to $1,500 for a municipality. It is a competitive grant program. We wish we could give grants to everybody who applied, but funding is limited. So we encourage you to start working on your application now. The deadline is April 26th. And this is really to focus on open space. So open space education, stewardship, and also raising the profile of the EC so that you can then come to your municipality, to your elected officials, and have value added, as well as have an opportunity to really shine with your community as you're working on improving your local space, your local open spaces. We're thrilled to be able to offer this program. It's supported by donations to the Candace McKee Ashman Memorial Fund. Candy was our first executive director, and we're thrilled to be able to offer this because of contributions to that fund, as well as contributions from the LSRPA Foundation and Viola Water. We also have a scholarship this year for college students. So students in their junior or senior year They must be New Jersey residents, and they must be working on environmental issues. So if you're a professor or know somebody who is a junior or senior in college and a New Jersey resident, please send this information to them. I'm sure we're going to put the link in the chat. So we're going to be posting in the chat tonight links for you to open up and have in your browser to review later, but we ask you to put your questions in the Q&A. So be sure to check this out. It's also on our website, or you can email Georgia Madiba and she will get you the information on our scholarship program. And last but not least, I want to talk a little bit about membership. So we do ask municipalities who have ECs to become members of ANJAC. And that way we are able to build a relationship with you, to be your voice in Trenton, to take your concerns to them. We also then offer you our programming at no additional cost. So you can attend our webinars, our roundtables, our fundamentals course. You get a copy of our ANJAC report on a quarterly basis. You get a discount for our environmental congress. So that's the one that we do charge you, but we serve some really good food and some extra meals there. So we work really hard to keep that at cost. We're also very grateful for our foundations and our corporate sponsors. If you don't know if you're a member of ANJAC, then you can email us at info@anjac.org, and you can check out this QR code. So you just open up the camera app on your phone and take a picture of that, and it will send you right to that section of our website where you can learn more about the benefits of membership. You're going to see lots of programming this year about stormwater and how to comply with different state requirements on stormwater. We also heard from you and continue to hear from you concerns about the climate crisis and both becoming more resilient to climate change and the impacts, as well as reducing greenhouse gas emissions. So we want to invite you to look out for our programs in April. We've got some really good ones coming up on open space and the new Greenway, which is going to be New Jersey's High Line up in Hudson and Essex County. And we're doing some work on community solar on April 9th so that we can get you all the what you need to know if you want to promote community solar in your town. What are the questions? What are the programs? What does that look like? So that you as EC members can be in the know as you start to promote these programs in your community. We'll see you in person for some good bagels and coffee and networking on the 13th. And then our Earth Day program is April 25th, and we hope to see you with your favorite beverage at 7 p.m. And we're bringing a curator of an art exhibit from New York to you to talk about environmental art and posters, environmental posters as a way of inspiring advocacy and community organizing on the environment. So we look forward to celebrating Earth Day with you on April 25th. So please stay in touch with us. This is where you can find us. Here's another QR code for you. This is our member survey. So please go ahead and take our member survey. It helps us understand what's most important to you and what your needs are. And then we can develop programming and bring in resources to support you where you need it most. So with that, I'm just going to say a big old thank you to all the staff this week who have put this together. You guys are fabulous. Really appreciate all of your hard work pulling this together. And thank you to all the EC members who are here with us through tonight and throughout the week. So with that, let me turn it on over to Cheryl and Randy.
Hi, everyone. I'm Cheryl Reardon, and thank you very much, Jen. And I hope that you've all enjoyed being here this week for the Commissioner's Course, and we look forward to seeing you at the in-person event in April. So tonight we're going to be talking about how to operate your environmental commission, the goals that you have, and really about building partnerships. That's what I like to concentrate on the most, because you are the link between your government and the community. So I look at communications as, first of all, you want to be able to communicate with your fellow commissioners well. Make sure that everyone on your commission has a voice and has a place where they're plugging in something that they're passionate about, so that they can really contribute well to your environmental commission. Also, part of that is finding the next generation of commissioners and bringing them in, and people in your community, whether that be with working with schools. I'll get into it more with different clubs in your community, and then communicating with your government. How do you do that? How do you work better together with them and really build those relationships? And then bringing your message to the community. What does the community? What's important to your community? How can you help them to make everything better, especially the environment in your community? Okay, next slide. So at the end of the year, you first of all, your goals. This should be continuous. Really suggest that each month you have some member of your environmental commission attend your council meeting. And this, you don't have to present a report every month unless there's something that you're really working on, but building those relationships. At the end of the year, you want to be presenting your annual report. You want to make sure that that's in writing, that it's given to them, and that it's also read into the record. I did see just recently, and if you look on ANJAC's Facebook page, where the Clifton Environmental Commission took their annual report, and I believe they probably used one of the Facebook reels. You can look at it, and it's a lot of pictures with writing, but it has each month everything that they did with different events and stream plantings and cleanups, and it's really nice. And what does this do? It shows it not only conveys the message of what the Environmental Commission is doing, but it's showing value. So that when you're presenting your budget that's needed for the next year, different events or cleanups or whatever, that there's a better understanding there of why this is important and the value that you are to your local government and to your community. When you're setting your goals, here's an example of, just like I don't know about you, but when I'm going to the food store, if I forget my to-do list, I leave and I forget a lot of what I was supposed to get, and I wind up being short on ingredients. So it's the same way when you're setting your goals for the year. I suggest having a list of short-term goals and a list of longer-term goals, things that may take you several years to complete, or that you're going to be continually working on. For instance, your environmental resource inventory. This is something that when sometimes commissions let it go too long because it's a big project, it can be very expensive. But if you're constantly aware that you're going to be redoing your environmental resource inventory, you can be working on it continually. Like I said, you want to make sure that every member of your commission has at least a project or an event that they are taking the lead on. And these should be broken out by the goals should be broken out, and also by month. For instance, starting in January, you want to make sure that you have all your meeting dates listed. This should be put up on your town website with the other meetings that happen monthly with your town. And also begin to look at what are the main issues in your town, whether it's recycling or native plants or stormwater. You can be starting to make lists of speakers that you would like to invite also to your meetings, or special nights. Look at how you're conveying your message. Does your town have a newsletter? Working with them to possibly do an article for your newsletter. If your town has signage outside advertising your events on the signs, even inviting your mayor. Of course, you have a liaison on your environmental commission to your planning board, but invite your mayor to your January meeting to discuss goals, so that you can begin very collaborative effort at the beginning of the year. I talked about educational programs. If you have a watershed association in your town or a lake community, be working with them and invite members to come and discuss different things. Looking at the township's master plan, knowing when the last time the master plan was done, being familiar with what's in your master plan. Your master plan is first you have your environmental resource inventory. We talked about that this week. Then what is the vision for your town? What are the assets that are important to your town? This is something your master plan, when it is being redone by your town, the Environmental Commission definitely should be a part of this. Looking at stormwater, are there areas of flooding in your town? How can the Environmental Commission be involved with your educating on your MS4 permit? Where drains are located, making sure that residents are aware that if there are drains near their properties, that they want to make sure, especially when there's big storms coming in, that these drains are cleared. These are all messaging that the Environmental Commission can be involved in. Okay, next slide. Again, we're talking about you're the stewards of your town. A way to also work with your community, there's a number of different clubs, for instance, 4-H clubs, the businesses in your town. This year we went through the single-use plastics, but a lot of smaller businesses, they want to do the right thing. And if you could work with them, Jen was talking the other night about how sometimes when she goes in, they automatically stick the plastic utensils. Are there businesses in your town that are still using styrofoam? Are they, some I know in my town, I'm shocked sometimes when I see them still use plastic bags, and I stop and talk with local businesses because we want to support local businesses. So really try to build those messages up. If you have book club, bookstores in your town, work with the bookstores. Maybe you can do a display there or hold a meeting there. In fact, today we had a meeting with a local utility, and it came from an environmental commission about discussing lighting plans for their town. So these are all ways that you can be more involved with the community. So as I said, we're going to be looking at doing month-by-month schedules. This month was looking at local aquifers. Many people don't know actually where their water comes from, which aquifer they're on, what are the major pollutants in their aquifer, how can they work to protect their aquifer. When you're looking at stream cleanups, organizing with local scouts are excellent. Many times they're looking to do badges, so you can be working with them. Do you have a garden club in your town? Do you have a community garden in your town? For garden clubs, it's a great way to hold meetings with them and talk about why biodiversity is so important. People so often want to put a chemical down, where if they understand why these are harmful to their aquifer and their drinking water supply, then also discuss why insects are important and why the good insects are important and why the insects are important to the birds. So all these things are, they're all connected. Of course, next month we have Earth Day coming up, and it's Earth Month. I hope all the environmental commissions are doing something for Earth Day in your town. If you're doing a tabling event or handing out saplings or talking about recycling, at ANJAC, we have a lot of resources available to you. you just get in touch with info@anjac.org or call our office. We have games, we have displays, we have display boards. We're happy. We have these resources there for you to use. I just saw in there, you don't have to go back, but poster contests. It's a great way to work with schools, again, 4-H clubs, to do different poster contests. Jen was talking about working with the arts community. I live in Pittman, New Jersey, and on the side of a ceramic studio, they have a whole mural on the side of the building of native plants that I'm not sure who did it, whether it was a local artist, but it's beautiful, and it's a great way to work with another part of your community. Also, if you have a lake in your town, to work with different photography clubs and kayaking and getting pictures and publishing these pictures, always giving credit to who took them and why these resources are important. Just looking here. Tree canopy. What are the native trees? So often people, they want to plant a tree, they go out, they just buy one, they don't realize that it's not native. Having listings of what are the native trees, what should they be planting, why are tree canopies important to the community and to local habitat. Okay, next slide. Marketing your environmental commission. Again, community events. And I know in my town, we always have festivals. It seems like every other week during the nice months, there's festivals, but also looking at your community library to see if you can do a display there, or have a talk there on a specific issue. When you're doing the festivals, one item that environmental commission should always have for photos is something that has the name of your environmental commission really big on it. If you have a banner, but when you're taking photos, you want to make sure that it's the environmental commission, and keep it out there all the time in your photos wherever you're putting them. With the schools and parent organizations, if you have the parks in your town, if you can do something for children, here I know where I live, they did an outdoor walk with the kids, and identifying different habitat and why it's important, and the kids really learn a lot that way, hands-on, and it gets the parents out with them also. I talked about the chambers and business organizations. It's great to form a good working relationship with your Chamber of Commerce and partners with like-minded organizations and other towns. If you can work with the environmental commissions or green teams of your adjoining town, especially those that you share resources with, like water resources, you should be working with them and holding events together. So often, the work just goes easier when you're working with adjacent towns and planning together. Also, like I said before, watershed organizations. See, there's a town with a banner at one of their fairs. But if you can get people to come in from the water associations, you can do nature walks, working with the 4-H groups, different synagogue and church groups. Historic societies are another great partner to work with. The arts community. Another thing with the libraries is that we're seeing a lot of is the libraries starting to have native seed libraries in them. It's a great way to work with the libraries in your town. Again, the Adopt a Drain, the native plant sales. Many of the environmental commissions give out native plant seeds. They're not expensive to get. They educate on it at the same time. They have native plant sales, especially, and a lot to do with pollinators and butterflies, and why it's so important to plant milkweed. So please be concentrating on the native plants. And while the social media is important, you have to be out there in the community. It does so much in relaying your message face to face, but it's a way to be meeting people in the community that can be very valuable to you, and their different interests, and bringing new people into your environmental commission as you go along. As far as media, if you have a Facebook page, if you don't, you could be discussing that with your town, but you should certainly have space on your town's website that you can be sharing information. Again, pictures are great. Articles are great too, but pictures are great. Feel free, please, to go on ANJAC's Facebook page and share anything that we have. That's why we have it. We want you to be sharing that information. But also, if you have something in your town, we're looking to share your information too. So please, when you're doing your events, be taking pictures and sending us little stories that we can share on our social media. And what to display at your table. Your environmental resource inventory, suggest always having a copy of that. Some towns, we've seen it where they take some of their maps and enlarge them, or even if they don't enlarge them, they laminate them so they can reuse them over and over and over, and people can be touching them and discussing it. And but certainly if you're concentrating on a specific project in your town, whether it be a lake and different pollutants going into the lake, and what you want people to do, you want to be blowing up these maps and laminating them so that you can discuss them better. There's the chair of the Ocean City Environmental Commission. That's just one of the games that we have. We have the game wheel. We have all different types of games. They're really good for attracting people to your tables. You just let us know and we will get them to you. The more advanced notice we have, especially in the busy months like April, you want to be making sure you reserve them in time. Again, the pictures of the Adopt a Drain program, working with your community on that. Surveys. We use surveys, and we take the information that you give us and we use it to be doing our goals and our programming for the year. That's, people like having a say. So today it's really easy to do the QR surveys, and you can even make you give something away at the end of the year. You can work with your business community too, for giveaways. Okay, again, that's more pictures. And this is over the last year, if you've been attending our community roundtables, a lot of our work is on stormwater initiatives and on native plants. So this is a rain garden being planted in Phillipsburg. It's great to work with schools to see if you can do different native gardens there, or even better yet, rain gardens. It's a great way to continue your education in the community. And conserving your resources. The one thing that you don't want to do is to put so much of the work on any one or two or three members within your environmental commission. You really want to spread it out, make sure that everyone feels that they are an important part of the commission. Money, doing the budget every year, and then when you go to the council meetings, you're explaining why that budget is important, and especially if you're going to be needing more of a budget in the future. So this is a newsletter in a town. You can, if your town does not have a newsletter, you can be doing this online, your own newsletter. And what are you doing? Why are you doing it? You're using it to announce your upcoming events. So many times you feel like you're repeating yourself, but it takes 3, 4, 5, 6 times to keep repeating a message because people are not always seeing it. And the more different types of media you can use, the better. Again, recruiting new environmental commission members and new interest in your community to your commission. If you can come up with cute headlines, that's wonderful. Catchy themes, again, photos and consistency. Often there are times when we do have to ring the alarm bell, and you shouldn't be afraid to do that when it's needed, but it's so important to be able to be having a positive message, not just about what the problem is, but what the solutions are and how the community can be part of the solution. And this is an example of a banner that the Glen Rock Environmental Commission is using. Again, that's so catchy. The colors are catchy, the hands are catchy, but you want to make sure that in all of your photos that you're showing that it is the Environmental Commission's work. And thank you all for the work that you did with passing the single-use plastic bag ordinances in your town. ANJAC could not have done it without you. We're going to be asking for a lot more help as we move forward with our plastic initiative goals for reducing it. But what a great message that is. And with this, looks like there's a lot of students involved, and these are the type of media exposure that you want. And picking the low-hanging fruit. If there are different community newspapers in your town, ask if you can get an op-ed in there on different topics. If you need articles, ANJAC can certainly supply them also to you. We have our ANJAC report that comes out quarterly. We have our ANJAC news that comes out every other week. Feel free to take links for those articles and use them. And seasonally, you want to make sure, for instance, now people are looking at planting their gardens, so it's a great time to be talking about the natives. During the winter, you want to be talking about using less salt or in your town for removal, making sure those storm drains are cleared, and to be sharing your message in a variety of different medias. Okay. So in Pittsgrove Township, they were going for funding for their open space plan and for their environmental resource inventory. They did a series of articles in the local newspaper. It was a great program. They managed to get funding because of it. It was an open space tax that they were going for. The tax passed, and they did it by using letters and op-eds to the editor. Again, ANJAC social media, please get in touch with us. Follow us on Facebook, follow us on YouTube. Take our on our YouTube, on our web page, we have all of our roundtables and webinars are recorded. Take them and use them in your meetings for education. It's a great way to make sure that all of your members, because we know that not everyone can be at every webinar we do and every roundtable that we do, but we want you to be able to share it with your members. And I think I covered all this already. So thank you very much. Again, please continue to work with us on the plastics. We will be holding a lot more webinars this year. One thing that I forgot to share that I wanted to was on composting. We have several links up there on composting. It's a great way to get community involvement. Zero waste in your kitchen. And you want to make sure that your message can be more positive. Sometimes it's really hard, we know, but be careful of your wording when you're writing different messages. And again, Jack can help. We have a variety of toolkits on our webpage for you to use. All of our film, we have different films that you can use for free. Just get in touch with us. They're all listed on our webpage, our displays, our games. We have links to all different handouts that you can use to have printed up. We don't keep a large inventory of printed supplies anymore, but they're all available for you to print up. And there's a lot of the different ones that we have. And our display, that's all our displays and games again. So please just get in touch with us to use them. And that's it. So thank you very much. Please make sure you take our member interest survey too. Use that QR code. We want to hear from you. As I said, it helps us in setting our programming for the year for you. So if you have any questions.
Hi, Cheryl. Thank you. I have a few people that have asked a couple of questions. Stacy asked, do you have suggestions for speakers at our EC meetings to help encourage members?
Well, as I said, if you have local land trusts and water trusts are a great way. They're usually looking to come and get their message out to the community. You can do that at your regular monthly environmental commission meeting. Make sure you advertise it well in advance and ask the association, the local watershed association, they will too. But you can also hold Zoom webinars with speakers, just like we're holding tonight. It doesn't always have to be in person. You can also take your message out into the community. Instead of holding it at your regular meeting, hold an event with a speaker at, say, a lake or a park and talk about habitat. Get the people in your community out into the right out into it so that you can better explain it there.
You can also reach out. You also can reach out and bring in, even like if there's an environmental club at the high school, and have the teacher maybe come in and give a talk of what they're doing there, and maybe you can then form collaborations with some of the work that they're doing, and it will bring in volunteers for you to on projects. So it can be there's local speakers in your community. I mean, there's a lot of resources available. There's a lot of nonprofits that will, they have people that might have projects going on that you can reach out to. They could possibly come in and give a talk to you about what type of work that they're doing locally in your area.
Mm-hmm. Another thing is if you have like a local farmers and CSAs, invite them to come in and be talking about, the local food being grown in your community, why it's a great way to introduce biodiversity. So that people understand that what they do in their backyard matters throughout their community, bringing in the pollinators and the insects, and people do care about their local food supply. I know where I live, they have a farmer's market. It is crowded. You can have a table at the farmer's market a lot of times too.
Yeah, thank you. Terrific. A lot of great ideas there. Somebody asked, how do you encourage quote unquote Deadwood EC members to make room for town residents with the time and desire to do the work and make a difference rather than to bolster their personal resumes?
Mm-hmm. Well,
It's a delicate question, but
it's difficult, and this is the same on other boards in the township too. A lot of times there will be a rule in your town that if someone misses, say, 3 meetings a year or 3 consecutive meetings, that then they can automatically be replaced. You can also have, in addition to your 5 to 7 members on your environmental commission, you can have other members that are not necessarily voting members, but they definitely have input into the commission. That's a way of doing it. Sometimes it's best to, at the beginning of the year when you're setting the goals, you have to make sure that everyone is involved, and if they're not, one-on-one have a conversation with them. You don't want to embarrass them or be like the police that we're going to put you off the commission, but to have these one-on-one discussions with them. And gee, you're a valuable member. Do you think that we could work with you? Sometimes they need nudging. And you can also have new commission members that can sometimes be a little intimidated by the original members on the commission who ran things for so long. But as you're, so many times there are people that have other skills. For instance, mapping skills are so important now to environmental commissions. So to be able to have people that are able to do that, maybe having a buddy system, on working on projects together, like a person who's been on the commission for a long time with someone newer with new skills and new ideas coming in. But
I really like what Cheryl had to say, and this is a delicate situation, and it's one of those situations where you need somebody who is either good at or not afraid of people management. And the conversation is something like, hey, I've noticed you haven't been able to make it to many of the EC meetings this year. Can we have a conversation about that? Are you still interested in being on the EC? What is it about being on the EC that interests you? And so finding the right fit. Some people are extroverts, some people are introverts, and seeing if there is a right fit there, or saying, do you not have the time now? We still value, we invite you to come in, maybe you can be part of a friends of, we'd still love to have you at the cleanup. Can you help us organize that project? But if you don't have the time, that's okay. It's okay to not have, sometimes people don't want to let people down either, and they feel like, oh, I have to stay on it. So it's a conversation. It's probably best to have one-on-one, like Cheryl said. You don't want to embarrass them in front of a whole bunch of people, because then.
And I like the idea that Cheryl said, the buddy system. So maybe an older member you can encourage to be a mentor to a new member, to an associate, to kind of bring them on and teach them what they know, so that when the time comes that they feel they can't be on the commission anymore, they know someone stepping into their place that can take over the reins of some of the stuff that they've been doing for so many years. Because a lot of times, people hold on to their projects and they don't want to, just give it off and to somebody who doesn't know what's going on. So if they can take on that responsibility to train the new person so they can feel comfortable of then stepping down from some of the roles that they had that they may no longer be able to manage.
Absolutely.
And I do just want to add that sometimes you can have a member on a commission that can almost become a little bit of a bullying person, and this is how we always did it, and this is how we're going to do it, and they're not open to change. In that instance, you really, a chair or a couple people have to sit down and have a conversation with that person, that everyone on the commission has to feel like a important member.
Yeah, the ANJAC staff can probably testify to this, but my general approach with this is the way we've always done it, is you're not allowed to use that phrase. This is the way we've always done it, unless the next sentence is, and we've had wild success doing it that way, because I'll be darned, I don't want to change something if it's working. But if it's, this is the way we've always done it and it doesn't work for us, well, then let's try something new. We risk nothing then by doing something a different way.
Exactly. Okay, Sonia had asked, can you list a few methods on how to build a successful survey? Does anybody want to take that, or do you want me to start?
Yes, please.
Sonia, there are a lot of actually online surveys that are free. I mean, you can try even a Google form where you send everybody a link with some questions, SurveyMonkey, and there's another platform for surveys that's free. I think you can get up to like 500 answers. So God bless you if you get a survey with 500 answers. I want you to come work for ANJAC. So, but yeah, I mean, there are lots of different ways you could attack a survey, and it might depend on what anybody's skill set might be. But SurveyMonkey, for instance, is very easy to set up. You put a little picture, you ask 3 or 4 questions. I will tell you that the best surveys are the shortest surveys. Anytime somebody has to spend more than 5 to 10 minutes at the most, you're going to lose them. They're going to not, and be careful what you want them to answer about their personal situation. Don't ask too many personal questions unless that you don't need. If you just, your name and address, why do you need that? You want to know their age, that might help, but I mean, think about your questions carefully. Anybody else want to add anything?
Yes to everything Liz just said. The 2 additional things are: avoid using compound questions at all costs. So don't have a question that has an and or an or in it, because then people get confused and they might say yes to the first half of the question, but no to the second half. And then your results are skewed because you don't know exactly what they're answering. So short, clean, simple questions are best, and avoid leading questions. If anybody's ever gotten a political poll, some of the questions start with, if you heard X, Y, and Z about this person, what's your opinion of them? And you're like, what? Well, is that true? Is that it? So avoid the leading questions. Just ask straight, simple. Don't try to get too fancy with it, because the cleaner your questions are, the better your results are going to be. Keep it simple.
Absolutely. Wendy shared that she had alternates added to her ordinance after years of attendance problems. So that's another way you might be able to get different, to really get new members. If you have alternates and then a regular member doesn't show up, the alternates then have the ability to vote and participate. So that's another thing. I mean, just also remember that if you have somebody that shows up at your meetings and just wants to listen to what you're talking about, and they're there for a couple of months in a row, say, hey, we're doing this pollinator garden planting. Would you like to join us? I mean, there you go. Now you got to volunteer without even trying. They're coming and they're interested in what you're doing. So maybe they don't want to be a member, but maybe they want to help you with something. So make sure you meet people. And Wendy was saying that now they get their quorums and they can have their meetings, and it really helps keep them moving along, which is great.
Right.
Thank you for sharing that, Wendy.
There's nothing worse than being not just on an environmental commission, but any group that requires a quorum, that you show up for a meeting and then there's not a quorum and you can't meet. So it's really important for environmental commissions to be reminding, will you be at the meeting, having your agenda listed in advance, having your meeting minutes, however you you share them with each other. I suggest having to do bolded on anything that is that you're moving forward with, so that everyone is aware that, but making sure that you have, especially if you have members of the public that come out for a meeting and then you don't have a quorum. So you want to make sure that you're going to have a quorum at these meetings.
One of the tricks I used to do if we do have a meeting and we're planning a quorum is we would just do some unofficial planning. Because, you know, if you've got some people there, you don't want to just throw your hands up in the air and leave. So you just can't take any votes to spend money,
Right.
or, you know, really do any official actions. ECs are really advisory, so you're luckier than a planning board there. Whereas like if we don't have quorum, we can't do anything. I was at a planning board meeting recently and I hadn't been at the previous one and they continued an application. I said, well, I can't vote on this because I wasn't at the previous meeting. And they were like, okay, you can leave. And they were like, wait, we lose quorum if she leaves because we didn't have our alternate members there. So the poor applicant started all the way from the beginning explaining everything. And I was like, look, if I had known if this was a continuation, because it wasn't advertised like that, I would have, you know, watched the previous meeting or read the transcripts. So you're luckier that you don't get yourself into that situation with an EC because you're advisory.
I just, somebody posted something in the chat. I'm just gonna sort of add some general. Sometimes we hear from ECs that they're having a little trouble conflicting with the town government and stuff. And yes, you're welcome to reach out to Anjac. We can give you advice. As you heard from Cheryl, keeping the good relationship is tough. And you do need to, you know, you need to thank them for the good stuff they do. They might not do good stuff for you every time. But the more you're out there at the library, at the farmer's market with the table, and people are talking about how great the Environmental Commission is, and you gave everybody a packet of seeds, the government, the council is going to have a little bit nicer view of you, even if you do occasionally, you know, have a disagreement with them on a certain topic. At least then you have the goodwill of some of the community. So keep that in mind. But whoever wants to reach out to us separately offline about an issue you're having, of course, you have our email info@anjac.org.
We work with several towns every year where there's some kind of conflict. And so it's really a one-on-one kind of consultation that we do to brainstorm what the situation is, you know, what the factors are, what your history is. But we're happy to chat with you about that. But we can't give general advice other than, yeah, having a good, stable relationship with your municipal officials is positive, because then, you know, you're ultimately going to hit some hard road at some point.
I mean,
Also,
and some of the times you should maybe just, you know, reach out to the municipal officials and see where there's common ground. I mean, that's the important thing, to see what projects he would like to see in the town. Like, is there an area of town that needs some beautification, or if you would like to see this happen, and if that also meets some of the goals of the EC, then you found a way to start building that relationship, you know, in a positive fashion.
and it's really important to keep politics out of it. I mean, so often, many of us, you know, we are political, but you want to keep politics out of your commission. Build those build those bridges. Those bridges aren't built overnight. I have personally learned that at times people who started out, who I viewed as the enemy, became the best collaborator I had. And we didn't always agree, but we worked together. So it doesn't happen overnight sometimes, but build those bridges. And I also meant to mention, build a good relationship with the clerk in your town. They can be very helpful to getting the word out for the commission, helping you, helping the commission to get your message out, whether it be in newsletters, to they're just immensely important. And the other is to work with your DPW. They build that relationship and see how they can help you and you can help them, especially with green infrastructure projects. This is really important to be able to work with your Department of Public Works.
We know of a few ECs every year that have a joint EC and DPW pizza party. And it's just a networking event. It's an opportunity for them to share the same space, to get to know each other's names, because too often your ship's passing in the night, DPW is there during the day, you're having a night meeting, you don't even know who each other are. And then you get to talk about, you know, some of the projects you're working on or some of the struggles you have in the municipality. It's just a pizza party. And you know, you get together and get to know each other. Somebody buy a pizza. We got lots of great pizza places in New Jersey. So buy something local, support a local business, and get together and meet some people.
Thank you. And I've been, just want to tell everybody, we really appreciate all your lovely comments, and we are so glad to present this series to you. And we really want to thank you all for attending and giving your time to your Environmental Commission and your local municipality. It's invaluable. The work you do is tremendous. And we're all of Anjac staff is in awe of everything you do, believe me. And we're here to help.
Stay
Anybody
in,
else want to add? We got 2 minutes to keep it under an hour.
okay, stay in touch with us, please.
Absolutely.
And if you can, come to our community roundtables that are, we're looking for topics that are important to you, so email them to us. But we want you to stay in touch, and please be sure to follow us on social media.
Wonderful. Thank you all. Hope to see you on April 13th in person.
Thank you. Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.